Uh, Alex, if I could just comment on two things that Susie had mentioned. First was how the weather could cause problems. I'll give you an example. I live in a northern suburb of Austin, and Austin is on the edge of what's called the hill country, which most people think of Texas as flat like Kansas, but the hill country is what's called part of the Permian Basin, an uplift that 20 million years ago was under a shallow sea, but now is about 1,000 feet above sea level. And so anyway, in that hill country, I work in another town that's about 20 miles away. So I have to drive. It's a nice rural drive between two towns, but you have to go up and down these hills. And some of the hills can get steep. And above this this highway called Route 29, I was told that Monday that the storm first hit that there was no way. I was stopped by a Williamson County Sheriff's Department deputy and said that he wasn't going to allow me to travel there because if you went north of 29 into the hill country and your car stopped or got stuck in the snow or fell or skidded off somewhere, there was no way they could get an emergency vehicle to you. Same thing if you were an old lady who had a heart attack or someone who cut themselves, started a fire with a generator, everything's going to burn down because the emergency vehicles couldn't get to you. So that's one thing how the lack of preparation in that kind of a situation can affect health and whatnot. But the second thing I wanted to mention was Susie had mentioned solar. I have a neighbor, a couple of 2 or 3 doors down from me that has solar on his roof. It's a 2-story home versus my 1-story home. And then I also have a fellow who works in the store that I work in who has solar on his roof. And they were complaining about the fact that Texas, because it's deregulated and because there isn't any statewide standard for connecting, say, the different power companies, and they're off the grid and each one supplies themselves, is that when you have, for example, one of the reasons people get solar is so that they can sell some of the energy to the companies and have a negative bill. But these guys couldn't sell during this storm because sometimes for the first couple of days, the snow and the ice was on top of the solar panels. But even when it was off the solar panels, because these companies were in such a panic and they were running out of juice and they were having planned blackouts, there was no way to connect the things up. So you could not, even if say 50% of Texas had solar energy, because of this asinine patchwork system, you couldn't even get the energy that people were generating from their own solar cells on their own roofs into the system. Mm-hmm. They could perhaps power their own homes. But this is why you need fucking regulation. This is why you need to have people doing this. It's like she had mentioned ACD. Imagine you had half the population just on AC current and everyone and the other half on DC current, but they were a patchwork throughout a neighborhood and throughout the system. And then you had other people who were being powered by some other.
Yeah, it used to be that way, right?